School. Oh, school. You sit in these desks. You sit in these wooden desks. You have teachers just talk nonstop for 80 minutes and tell you to fill out this worksheet, and then the bell rings and you don't even think about it, and you gather your stuff, you stand up and you go to the next class, and your brain isn't even activated. A lot of us lose our creativity in school. School killed it. I killed it. Hey, I'm a teacher. I've killed it for many kids. How do I kill it? I take out a red pen and I mark up their work. They turn in something, I cross it out and I go, nope, this is wrong. Nope, this isn't your best work. Teachers become a little more rigorous. They use the red pen a little more. They cross out mistakes. They tell you that you could do better. And that's good teaching, but that also prevents us from taking risks. It prevents us from trying new things because we're so afraid of making mistakes. When you were 6, we didn't do that. When you were 6, everything you made, you took it home, your parents put it right up on the fridge. When you were 6, everything you drew, you gave it to your teacher and they put a gold star on it and said, you're fantastic. And then by the time you're 16, that changes. Before I became a teacher, I wanted to be a writer. I still kind of want to be a writer. And I go to Barnes & Noble and I look for books on writing, and I look for books on filmmaking, and I look for books on poetry, and I'm looking because I'm trying to get better. I want to become a better writer. I want to be rich and famous and quit my job as a teacher like everyone else. Okay, maybe not. I went there probably about 15 years ago, and I'm looking in the writing section, looking for books on how to write, and I saw this book called A Writer's Paris by Eric Maisel, I think. And I looked through it, and it was talking about going to Paris. It was very literal. Let's go to Paris, had specific places, and it just stood out to me. And as I started reading it, I realized that it was telling me that I needed to go to Paris. It needed to be front and center. Like, you need to go to Paris and live there for 6 months. I was pumped. Like, I was ready. I'm getting my plane ticket. I'm going to save money. Like, I'm going to Paris. And I'm going to write, and I'm going to paint, and I'm going to smoke cigarettes. Probably not. But I'm going to live there, and I'm going to put my art first. And by the end of the book, it was clear that it was just a metaphor. I could find Paris in my living room in Lehigh, that I could find Paris in room 221 at Lone Peak High School, that it was all just a metaphor, that it was putting your art first and committing to this thing that you wanted to make or the story that you wanted to tell. That really is the message of A Writer's Paris, and that's why it's the theme of this whole experience. In my class, I give students their crayons back. One of my favorite days is we go back to elementary school. Call it Throwback Thursday or Throwback Friday.
Full effect. Now we're talking about the color. Like this group, there ain't no other. We're dope, yo, word to the mother. We discover, yo, freeze, Spider-Man, we all brothers. Bringing off with a new style.
We move all the desks out of the way. We get our crayons out and we color. And we have nap time, and we have story time, and we go outside for recess, and we have juice, and we have cookies, and I don't know, like, I could see somebody looking at that and being like, what a joke. Like, what are we doing? Like, what is this class? Like, we're going back to 3rd grade? Like, really? And it's a metaphor. It's permission. We need that permission to be that way again, to be the way we were when we were kids, when we didn't care, when we were willing to share everything that we made, where we wanted to make stuff and then we wanted to share it with the world. And we weren't afraid of it looking stupid or whatever. Today's about we're going to look like a kid, we're going to think like a kid, we're going to be brave like a kid, we're going to be unafraid to fail or look stupid or share what you make like a kid. We're just trying to recapture that feeling where we don't care as much about what other people think. Okay, so that's the objective of today's class. That's all that day is it's an object lesson. If they can look back and remember, and I'm sometimes afraid that some kids don't, maybe they just think, oh cool, we're jumping rope. But if you're paying attention, you know that I'm giving you permission to be that way again. I'm giving you your crayons back. I'm helping you see that you had it figured out at 8 and you lost it at 18. We all had it. We were all creative when we were in elementary school, and then we lost it. And maybe a teacher took it from us. Maybe we just grew out of it and we're just trying to rediscover it. Teachers love to hear themselves talk. Blah, blah, wah, 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 wah. Can sit up and talk for 80 minutes straight. Just wah, 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 wah. Teachers can ramble. We love to hear ourselves talk. Journal Jam is a chance for the teacher to sit down and for the student to get up. The podium no longer belongs to the teacher. The podium belongs to the student. You get that same feeling of, I just wrote something and I'm gonna hand it to you to read, which you could do that in a classroom where you just give your paper to the person next to you. Well, this, I'm gonna write it and I'm gonna share it with 30 people at once. Talk about that feeling like on steroids, and you're hoping they like it. You're hoping that they laugh when you say something funny. You're hoping that at the end they go, ooh, ooh. You need that, and you get to experience that like immediate. I'm gonna say something and I'm gonna see if you got it, and I'm gonna see if you liked it, and I'm gonna see if you understood it. And that is an empowering moment for kids to use their own voice. It's about finding your own voice. A lot of people talk about finding your voice. Like, what does that mean? Not only is it important to find your voice, it's important to use your voice.
Died a little bit inside. I lay in tears in bed all night.
You're a multidimensional, fully fledged human being who has multiple sides to your personality. We all do. I don't think that we're given that permission in high school because you're supposed to be one thing. If you're a football player, then you're supposed to be a football player. You don't get to be other things on top of that. It's scary to be yourself. Okay, I remember being 17. How other people see you is everything. And you get put into boxes, whether you're on this team or whether you have this personality. I was the class clown when I was 17. Anytime I said anything, it was just to be funny. I would never raise my hand and ask a question. I would never raise my hand and offer an insightful comment or anything. I would just be stupid because that's what was expected of me. I was a class clown. And it wasn't until I got older that I realized that I had other things to say. We're trying to put on different hats and realize that we can be more than one thing. In fact, we even have a writing prompt where everybody brings in a hat, and you're wearing, one of them's even a football helmet. One of them's a beret, a cowboy hat. Everybody's got on a different hat. And then we have an eclectic mix of songs. And you go from wearing this hat, writing in a desk, you got 1 minute, you start writing. And then we yell, switch! And you gotta switch hats. We switch songs. All we're trying to do is get a different perspective and know that we can write a variety of different ways. I want one of those hats to be, I am creative. Okay? I want that to be one of the hats. Let's try on our creativity again, because maybe we lost it when we were in elementary school. Let's try it on again, see what it feels like, and be willing to look at ourselves as writers and artists, and as somebody who's willing to go to Paris for a semester. Not everybody wants to go to Paris, but maybe if you're an artist, then you start to go, yeah, maybe I do want to try this out. But you have to put on that hat first and be willing to look at yourself as an artist before you're willing to go there. Like, who takes my class? Who takes this class? Who wants to go to Paris? I'm not naive. I know that not everybody in my class wants to be a writer when they grow up. I know not everybody in my class wants to be a filmmaker or an artist. They're seniors in high school. They're just trying to maybe get an easy class and get out of here alive. But a funny thing happens in the span of a semester. I can get kids to look at themselves as artists. I want you to see yourself as an artist. not as a football player, not as a member of the student council, not as a cheerleader, not as a skateboarder, not as a theater kid, not as a kid who doesn't fit into any box. I want you to see yourself as an artist. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. It could just be part of it. We all can be more than one thing. We can be football players and poets, cheerleaders and storytellers. This is a place where you can discover that. Paris is a place where all artists come together, where a filmmaker and a poet and a novelist and a dancer might come together and just make stuff. I want kids to see that in themselves. I want them to try out different things. Who knows? Maybe they are an artist. If you can go there for 3 months, go to Paris for 3-4 months, try on that hat, try on that beret for 3 months, you might find yourself. You might find yourself.